Hey guys, hello YouTube. This is Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine, and it is November 16th, 2018. Um, Feeling pretty psychologically drained right now, but my grounding thing is still working. My attackers aren't pulsing my body so much, um, and I haven't made a video in a while. I kind of wanted to follow up. I feel really dried out, like my throat's dried out. So hold on 1 second. I hope everybody's doing okay. I hope you're finding some comfort, in this chaos, in this insanity. I recently had a psychiatrist appointment, and I think I have to say, if you ever are gonna go see a psychiatrist, go see a psychiatrist who isn't still being trained. Like I'm seeing a psychiatrist who's like at the end of the training, about to go into their professional career. So they stick very closely to the DSM, and I think a lot of psychiatrists do this, but I think you have better luck of the psychiatrist actually looking up any of the information you give them, or realizing that there's certain new things in the world that are just cannot be said to be mental illness. If it's somebody with their own practice who's had their own practice for a while, they might be willing to step out more from what the psychiatric hierarchy is telling them in the DSM. It's very depressing. I have to fight this. I have to fight this feeling of, because I'm physically feeling a lot better. I mean, my attackers have kind of switched things up since I am stopping some of the remote neural manipulation pulse pain. Now they're, hitting me externally, doing other things, kind of amping up the directed energy in other places since they can't get that through. I see it as a win, but I kind of have to fight that, that experiment that they did on dogs a long time ago, and they may still do this experiment, but they put a pane of glass in front of these dogs for a long time, and the dogs like jump into the glass and they try and get out and everything like that. Then they remove the window, and the dogs stay where they are and don't try and go through. So it's kind of this conditioning process. We hit these walls all the time as targeted individuals. And when I first started going to see a psychiatrist, I was giving them evidence. I was, talking to them about it, and expecting them to believe it because it's true. And I've gotten to this place where I've been pushed back so many times that I'm like, well, I don't even care. I mean, I'll go into the psychiatrist, I'll tell her what's going on, but she's not going to believe me. I gave her my channel a long time ago, and she told me she lost the channel. She doesn't have time to look into any of this stuff. Which I do want to say, she's a good person. She is not. She's not a gang stalker. She's not involved in this program in any way. But really, if somebody's following the hierarchy closely on the DSM, or just not going to look into things, I mean, they're not going to help you. I don't want to say they're as good as perpetrators, because that's kind of what I go to, because they're not bad people, but they do things that perpetrators would do to you. Like, they kind of put you in that position because they don't believe you. They think you're mentally ill. Anyway, that's really depressing, and I've kind of given up there. I kind of go there to get my medication, because I take Ativan to kind of normalize my nervous system, buffer down my nervous system so that the attacks aren't as painful. But it's sad how at the beginning I was like, oh yeah, my psychiatrists are going to believe me, or it's not going to take that long. All they have to do is look into this information. I mean, my psychiatrist now, she doesn't even know about the Cuban embassy attack, doesn't know anything about the China consulate attack. If she does, then she's telling me she doesn't. Like, she's saying, I don't know what that is. I've never seen anything about that. But that's something that I think we all have to fight. Not only the pain, the constant pain and psychological torture and isolation, but a conditioning. When you keep hitting a wall, you get this. I do, and I guess I'm a lot like other people going through this. I resonate with a lot of other targeted individuals, but you kind of get that attitude of, well, nobody's going to listen to me anyway. Why talk about this? Nobody, even if they do know about it, they're still going to deny it and stuff like that. I have something on my TV screen right now. It's making my a red glare in my glasses so my eyes aren't red. But anyway, I mean, but I have to say she's a good person. She talks to me about it, but she has an opinion of she's going to help me by helping me to let go of this delusion because that's her job. I mean, she told me that was her job this time. She's like, I have to go by what the DSM says about people like you. So she's not going to ever look into this information, look at any of the proof. Like, she's not going to go through my channel and look at all this proof that I'm putting out about these programs. She's going to go by the DSM and what it is said. And this program has been established by looking at the DSM and saying what makes a person look crazy. Let's do those things while we're experimenting and torturing these people, so that they will be thought of as crazy, and then we can get away with these crimes. But I won't spend too much a long time on that, because I do like her. I mean, she's a good person, but it just shows it's very disappointing to see what's the word? I'm having trouble thinking of words right now, guys. Hold on. The limitations of psychiatry and psychology. Because they have so many patients, they kind of just got to go by what the DSM says about a certain group of people. Even if there is technology and new things in the world, still they will not look into that. And it's the world's crazy. I mean, this is just so crazy. I wonder, like, I see this thing on the internet, like certain YouTube channels and on the internet, and it's like, a lot of people who horrible things aren't happening to, well, there's horrible things happening to everybody because with 5G and wireless and smart meters and everything, everybody's getting dosed with microwave radiation if you have a smartphone or a computer. Maybe not directly a stream of energy pointed at you, but definitely getting hurt by certain kinds of new technologies and stuff. Let me turn off my phone, guys. Yeah, when I do a video, that's usually when everybody texts me. So, I forgot what I was talking about. What was I talking about? Yeah, but I've seen on the internet and like YouTube channels, the YouTube channels that get so many views and things that get so many views are really like cynical, goofy things that kind of laugh at all the evil in the world, because it's like the people who aren't having it directly happen to them, they know that the world is so screwed up, and they're just like, well, it's too screwed up for us to fix, so let's just laugh at it. So even things like this, people laugh at because they're just like, well, that's just too big, and like we'll just call them crazy or whatever, because really in society, how we live today, the public, unless we get together in large numbers, we don't have a lot of power. We don't have the power and the money that the hierarchy has right now. The people, committing these atrocities, and so it takes large numbers and a large awareness and people to really care. And it seems like there's a conditioning going on in society where if you're not a person who's going through something really hard like this or something really unjust, it's like there's a conditioning on them for them to just see the world as too screwed up to fix, and just have fun, laugh at it all until it happens to them. So it's this, evil as shit. But I guess it's very nefarious, this conditioning of the rest of society so that people don't really get together and fix things that are horrible for them and their families, because they don't have time to, and things are just too screwed up. But that's the craziness of the world, and we can change it. It actually does take caring about things and, kind of putting yourself on the line for the truth. I mean, it's the time to do that in society. When society is this dark and tyrannical and people don't really care anymore, things are just too screwed up. It's the most important time to speak the truth. It's the most important time to step up and know that you can make a change. I was kind of babbling. I'm kind of babbling on because I haven't made a video in a while. I wanted to get some stuff out, especially about that psychiatrist appointment. It sucks because it's not like she's just a bad person. Like my psychiatrist is just a bad person. I think that would be easier if she was just a bad person and just dumb and stuff like that. And I could be like, well, she's just a bad person and dumb and could just write it off and not go there anymore. The really sad and hard part about it, wow, that TV's really reflecting that red in my eyes. I'm going to turn it off. The really sad thing about it is that she's a very good person, and she wants to do good things in life and help people. And so this is such a complicated situation. It's so complicated that you've got a good person who wants to help people, and then you've got a good person, like I'm a good person, sitting on the other side going through a real issue, but she is like, I'm going to help you by not believing what you're saying because society has told me not to. And that's what's in my protocol. Instead of critical thinking, two good people critically thinking and saying, what's really going on here? What's really going to help you? And our society has become so cookie cutter in protocols. There's protocols upon protocols upon protocols, and people don't want to break out of those protocols because they can lose their job. They can lose their job, and they've also got, a stacked workload, so many things to take care of, that these protocols that keep us in line and keep things moving and help, professionals and get things done, they kind of make critical thinking go away. Which can save our species to critically think. Let me go ahead and start reading these articles, and I may do some editorializing later. I really hope you guys are finding relief. Please try the grounding. Just ground in general. I've talked to so many target individuals who've grounded, and it's really helped them. It helps to break that cycle of too many positive ions in your body. Too much of a conductive charge and positive ions, so you can introduce negative ions into your body, make your skin less conductive, and actually heal not only from targeting, but old wounds and things like that. It can make you feel younger. And I'd really suggest doing it on the left leg. They still have not, if it slips off or if I take it off, they kind of get the pulsing in my back and the pulsing in my jaw. What they've done is, since the pulsing in my jaw is not occurring from remote neural manipulation, they've started externally hitting me in the jaw, so I don't feel the pulsing pain in my back or my hips. Only if my grounding falls off, but they are still hurting my jaw, and I can feel the heat coming in on it. It's not the same kind of pain, but they've got to keep that pain to my head. My attackers have to keep that pain to my head. But it really, I still consider it, a miracle. Physically, I have more energy. Spiritually, I am strong. And spiritually, I will remain strong because I do have faith in God. I know that this just seems so too much sometimes, for all of us. But I really trust in a good God. And I trust that we can't see everything in the balance of not only our lives, but afterwards. And then we just gotta do what we can. We've just gotta do what's right. And that balance will be seen in this life or the next. So yeah, let's go ahead. I'm gonna start with a prayer, guys, because I need a little bit. But I was gonna say, psychologically, I am more than worn out. Right now, I'm physically okay, but as I started to feel more energy, my thinking actually got better because of the grounding thing, And when you can think better during this, I don't want to say it's bad, because healing is good and having more mental energy is good. But I do want to say, when I was just getting so hurt so bad and could barely think, then I was just surviving every day, and I wasn't really taking time to think about, whoa, how bad this is. So I'm going to try and redirect my thoughts to positive things, and try and use that energy, get out of my isolation a little bit more and use that energy in some positive things in my life. Sometimes it's kind of just something I'm saying, but it's not actually. It's better for your thinking to be clear, your physical energy to be better. But I just look back and I'm like, wow, I was getting so hurt that I really couldn't take time to think about how bad this was. I was on autopilot, and sometimes I don't want to say that's better. It was just, it's just different, to really sit there and be like, oh my God, I can wrap my mind about how horrible this is and how much time is wasted in our lives. But it's a transition, it's a transition. Healing, trauma and healing are both transitions. We want to make that good transition into shedding off the trauma, shedding off the psychological trauma. Almost, this is something that I kind of want to say before I say the prayer. When I was little, I had Crohn's disease, and as a kid, I thought, well, how can I fight back with my body if my body's the thing that's the thing that's getting hurt and has a disease, and I'm tired and stuff like that. I'm kind of forgetting where I'm going with this. Yeah, I kind of lost that guy. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say a prayer. Got a short-term memory thing going on here from remote neural manipulation. But I'm gonna go ahead and say a prayer before I get started with these articles. I hope my sound is on. I think it is. I didn't do a live stream. I didn't do a live stream because my attackers are freezing up my windows. So I wasn't going to even make a video today, but I was like, okay, well, I'll just open up some windows and, hopefully they won't close them out or freeze them. But everything's freezing on my computer, and I'm a little bit worried that they're trying to affect my screen sharing program and everything. So I kind of wanted to do it this way so I could check it out and then put it out. But I will do a live stream soon, guys. But let me go ahead and start with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In the name of Jesus Christ. Dear Lord, give us a path through this. Give us a path through this. Give us miracles. Give us healing. Give us strength. Give us the right words. Give us the right thoughts. Give us the right footsteps to walk in. Thank you for all the miracles that you've given us. Thank you for all the friends that you've given us, and the beautiful, strong people who are struggling through this that I've met. Just thank you. Thank you for all the good that you put in our lives, our families. Please, please, knock out this darkness. Knock out this darkness. Give us the right words. Open up people's hearts and their minds to what's good for our species. And give us a pathway through this. Please end this. Please end this evil. Please help people to realize that it's not okay for this to just keep going on. It will affect them and their families too. Just give us more miracles, God. Give us peace and give us love. And let us help others, how you want us to help others. And give us the words, give us the actions to do those things. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, in the name of Jesus Christ. Alright, guys, so I'm going to start on this article from The Hill. Experts brief Pentagon on neuro-weapons after Cuban embassy attacks report. This actually ties in with the last video I did on James Giordano. I did his seminar on neuroscience, kind of neuroscience and new technologies and neurotechnologies. And he actually makes a statement for this article. So I wanted to do a little bit more on James Giordano. Somebody left a comment, and I'll go through some of my comments. I wanted to go through like 3 of them, but somebody left a message on his voicemail. So I think some targeted individuals are trying to get into contact with him and see if he can help us. There's another comment that I was very interested in because I'm always kind of shit talking him because I know that he's involved in some of these programs, but they gave me a different perspective on that, so I want to read that comment. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and read this article. I'm gonna need to open my other cold drink because my throat is just dry, so dry. Oh, and I also need to shave and get a haircut too. My hair is like super long. I almost have like a mullet in the back, but I just haven't gotten to that. Trying to get everything done, stay on top of things while just trying to survive. You know, not lose my mind from the Chatterbox V2K. The V2K is better though with the grounding and Dave Case's CD every night. I haven't been falling asleep without it. With those two things, and my Faraday bunker, and you know, supplements and cleansing and everything. I need to get more into the cleansing. But the V2K is kind of buffered down. It's like most times during the day I can't even notice it. I'd have to pay attention until I go to sleep. Then it's kind of bothersome. But I do have that mantra. Actually, I want to say that I don't know if I've said this on a video. I know I'm kind of, you know, I've taken up a lot of time with rambling, but I just want to say this thing, and then I'll get to the article. If you do have voice to skull, and you're going to sleep, and you just cannot get to sleep because it's just constant, incessant chatterbox, like, you know, mine, when I go to sleep, they'll be like, get out of there. And then the woman will be like, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. And then he'll be like, no, we need to put him away. Turn it up. You know, stuff like that. And it just keeps going and going where it sounds like a conversation, but then they keep talking about some of the same things. So it's kind of like a cycle. Whatever kind of V2K you have, if you're trying to go to sleep, have some kind of mantra that you can say in your inner voice, because that gives you a little bit more control. It's almost like counting sheep, but I say it just sounds good. Like, I've tried other mantras, but Jesus Christ is my Savior, Jesus Christ is my Savior, Jesus Christ is my Savior, Jesus Christ. And I've tried other things like God is my protector, you know, Jesus Christ is healing me. I'm completely ignoring this, stuff like that. Jesus Christ is my Savior just has the right kind of I don't even know what to call it, but it just has that it just sounds good, and it kind of rolls around in my head, and it really does kind of give me this counting sheep type thing where I can go to sleep. Now also I do listen to Dave Case's CD, but try that. Get a mantra, and if you can't go to sleep, if the V2K is keeping you awake. I know we also have sleep deprivation from like directed energy weapon systems attacks, and then also, you know, remote neural manipulation. They can really keep you awake by actually, you know, giving you a certain brain state where you can't go to sleep. But try it out. Okay, so hold on, hurry up and wait. Open this new cold drink. I need to drink more water too. I actually got a bunch of. Well, let me go ahead. I'm babbling too much and taking too much time. Hold on. All right, guys. So top defense officials were reportedly briefed Tuesday by researchers on the injuries suffered by 26 U.S. diplomats and their families in Havana, and the neuro-weapons that could be responsible. Now, I want to go back up and see what the date of this is. So September 11th, 2018. And I do want to mention, I wanted to get a clip of it, but 26 U.S. diplomats were reported in the news to be having these effects on their body by these weapons. Now, that's not all the people in Cuba that were experiencing this. It's hundreds. It's at least 100 or over 100 in this other hotel, and other ambassadors down there and things like that. The other ones, the other 100 or more, and it's probably a lot more, maybe a couple of hundred, they're just not in the news, so they're not reporting those. They're just reporting the ones that came forward and got put in the news. Also, in the China consulate, it's like 100 or more that Chinese people and Americans that are experiencing it in China. Only a couple got into the news, but there's more in these places that are experiencing these effects of the weapon. Their reports are kind of shirked off, and the news isn't reporting on those. So I do want to make that clear. Okay, Dr. James Giordano, chief of the Neuroethics Studies program at Georgetown University and one of the 3 experts conducting the briefing, detailed the findings to CBS News. We got a number of questions, all of them with regard to what could be going on. What's the nature of the stimulus? What was the nature of the damage? Was this the only one like this? What other neuroweapons might be available? Yeah, it's that. I mean, they're doing stuff like this. This is my attackers. And they've been doing it to my phone. Like I'll have YouTube open. I turn my phone off, but I'll have YouTube open and it'll just shut off. Like it'll just go back to my phone screen, and then I have to turn YouTube back on and then go to my history for whatever I was watching because it won't come back up. So both my phone and my computer, they've been freezing things up to where it'll just Google Chrome will stop working. So I guess I've got to just shut all this stuff down and try and restart it. It kind of shows, though, how incompetent these people are, and how if they didn't have all the time in the world, they really would be ineffective. Because I started making, and I think this isn't a response to me making videos. It's a response to me making these new videos with a lot of evidence, and like this. They probably reported that was going on or something like that, and then figured out some new kind of protocol to mess with my computer while I'm doing it. Because they know I like to open screens and go through articles and stuff like that. It took them a long time. It's been months. So if these people didn't have years and years and years and years and years, we would beat them easily. Our defenses would beat them easily. Unless if they didn't have years and years and years and years to tire us down, they would have no power at all. It's just because they can just do this forever and nobody's stopping it. Okay, so Giordano said, he added that there was some concern about the attacks constituting a new kind of warfare, and he would know because he's involved with these projects. I'll editorialize a little bit when I finish the article. I think there was some interest in the idea of brain sciences as forming at least one vector to the new battle space that was of concern and of consideration, he said. Yes, and that's a very big concern that we should all be talking about, is this technology is so advanced, and frequencies and pulses can be sent to somebody's brain to actually get a readout on certain things remotely, to actually send signals to the brain and the nervous system. Directed energy weapons being so remote, this is something everybody should be talking about. It's something imperative for our species to talk about. As a world, we should be talking about this. The UN should be talking about it all the time. Big money corporations making money on this research and data of the human brain and the human nervous system in different kinds of warfare by the military-industrial complex has made it not such a hot topic, because they want to see what they can get out of it first before trickling it out to the public. Okay, a spokesperson for Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Joseph Dunford, said that while the officials were intrigued by the subject, they asked no questions. Now, this is interesting. He's reporting to the Pentagon. He's also an advisor to the Pentagon on neuroweapons, on their neuroweapons program. So the Pentagon knows about this stuff. So I don't know if him, advising the Pentagon on the Cuban embassy attack and talking about neuroweapons maybe being the cause was some kind of show, was some kind of just a kabuki theater, or what? Because the Pentagon already knows about it. I mean, they are funneling money down. The DoD works under the Pentagon, and then you have Army intelligence, naval intelligence, Air Force intelligence, and then all the international contractors and contractors just within the United States doing research and development and manufacturing of these neuro-weapons, neurotech, and directed energy weapon systems. So I don't know if it was just kabuki theater or what. Although some agencies have reported that officials believe Russia is behind the Cuban attacks, State Department spokeswoman Heather Nauert denied on Tuesday that any new information on these suspicions had been found. We have seen sort of a firestorm of reports out there today assigning blame to the Russian government, according to some unnamed U.S. government officials. I would caution you all to be very skeptical of those official statements right now, Nauert told reporters. As you should be aware, the investigation continues in what is caused what we have called health attacks on our State Department employees who have been working in Cuba. There is no known cause, no known individual or group believed to be responsible at this time. We are looking into it. Our position has not changed. The investigation is ongoing. We have not assigned any blame, and we continue to look into this. I honestly think, guys, that in Cuba, it was Cuban intelligence, because a lot of those embassy workers were actually secretly working for the CIA. They were agents, and this is reported. This is reported in the mainstream news, not a theory. A lot of them were working for intelligence agencies, and so I think that Cuban intelligence definitely had this equipment. They have this weaponry, and were using it for remote neural monitoring to see why some of the agents who were there under the cover of embassy workers were there. They were trying to see that. Now, they might have had help from Russia or something like that. Russia may have been involved with giving Cuba some of this technology. But I do think it was Cuban intelligence. I think in China, it was China intelligence, and I don't think China would have had to get this technology from Russia. Cuba would have probably had to have gotten this technology either from us or the Ruskies. But I do think it was Cuban intelligence in Cuba, and I think it was China intelligence in China, because almost every country has this technology. And countries that can't develop it themselves are probably getting it from, from other countries that can develop it, like China, Russia, or the U.S., or Israel. And because in this kind of global cooperative studying of the human nervous system and brain, they want to study different cultures. So if I don't want to say a shithole country, but if a country like, I don't know, I'm saying like Turkey maybe, they're not a shithole country, but I don't think that they would be able to develop some of this technology on their own, but they'd probably be assisted by all these factions trying to use different countries in this kind of global chessboard. I guess I don't want to get too much into that and conjecture and things like that, but I just want to say I do think it was Cuban intelligence, maybe aided by the Russians in getting this intelligence, and then in China, I think it was China intelligence, because we send a lot of actual agents of intelligence agencies under the cover of certain embassy workers and things like that. And so I think it's this intelligence war using these new tools, using these new neuro-weapons, which they are experimenting on us to find out how they can find out things, what they can make a person do, many other different angles. Let's go to the next article. Let me go to those comments first. No, let me read the article first. I'll read the article first, because I might spend a little bit of time talking about the comments that I wanted to go over. Okay, doctors, and this is just James contributed to this. He was interviewed for this article too. I think it might be coming. It's getting cold where I am. Like, it's getting really cold where I have to wear a jacket everywhere. I think I might be coming down with a little bit of sore throat or something. I don't talk too much. Like, I haven't been going to a lot of the conference calls. I think I went to Ella's call this week, and then and my TI friend Sue was doing like a kind of a spiritual protection class. I went to that, but I haven't been going to a lot of calls, and I've been kind of isolating, a lot of isolating. Even though I have energy, it's like I don't really, I'm trying to just clean up my place, figure out new. I don't know, I'm just trying to do what I can do to find as a pathway forward. to keep moving forward and to keep getting information out there. I do have some fun stuff to do. I just got the Red Dead Redemption game, Red Dead Redemption 2. It's so awesome what they can do with video games. It's like a whole, it's like the whole state of, I don't know what state it is, but it's like a western and everything, and just whole maps of like different countrysides. And so it's hard. It's really, it hurts my heart that technology is used in this way to hurt people and experiment, because I see a lot of technology, I enjoy it, and I see the remarkable things that we can do with it, just like the remarkable things that could be done, with directed energy and things like that if we were responsible. But and especially when you have like a pyramidal hierarchy, the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm having a lot of trouble with words, guys. Right now, I guess the absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when there's a hierarchical structure, and a lot of it is kind of a global hegemony, really, which a lot of people, a lot of people are talking about it. But the temptation to do corrupt and evil things and misuse technology to control, and misuse war to control, and even think that lots of population reduction needs to go on. It's just the way that it goes, the way that evil goes. And I don't just hope. I have a lot of faith that there will be a lot of really just having a tough time getting my words today. Wow. I'm hoping the backlash will be. I'm not hoping. I have a lot of faith that there will be a backlash. No matter what happens, there will be a backlash of good. Good's getting off of its butt because evil has been doing so many evil things for so long. And there's going to be a backlash, and people are going to see how horrible this was. We've seen it time and time again in our history, and I guess a lot of people learn. A lot of critical thinkers learn, and they remember that, but there's a huge percentage that does not remember the past, and therefore is doomed to repeat it with horrifying technology that can make horrific things worse. Alright, let me just go ahead and read this article. I'm continuing to babble. These videos really just help me to get things out too. I do want to get information out, but also it just helps me to, just like the conference calls, to get information out and to have a place to talk. So I'd really recommend either doing a blog or doing videos or getting on Twitter or a journal, just something, a video journal. Guys, like Dr. Horton, I was going to put that up on this video, but she made a video and she talks about this a lot, and it's kind of the feeling that I've had since I first started making videos, that information flows in very interesting ways. Once an idea is out there, it's out there. They may be able to shut down my YouTube channel or whatever. I guess with us, what I'm seeing is I think that they really mess with our numbers. They don't shut down our channel because that would maybe give people the hint that it's something real that we're talking about. So I think when they're dealing with targeted individual videos, they do very, very subtle tactics. Either hide your video away to where it won't get into trending or anything like that, reduce numbers and things like that. Because if they just took our targeted individual videos down, people would be like, whoa, why are they taking targeted individual videos? They don't want these people talking about it, therefore it must be true. I had another point on that one. Well, let me go ahead and read this article. I'm a jabba-jaw today. Got this new Merry Mashup Christmas Mountain Dew. I need to just drink water. I want sugar. I want something to do. I want to drink a cold drink and smoke an electronic cigarette while I play my video game, so it feels like I'm doing something. Okay, so Dr. revealed possible neuro-weapon used in alleged attacks in Cuba. Let's see when this is from. September 7th, 2018. Excuse me. 3 doctors who evaluated U.S. personnel affected by alleged attacks in Cuba believe they were likely carried out with a weapon that uses directed energy causing a cavitation effect. So Dr. Giordano talks about this cavitation effect, which which my dad, after my 33rd birthday, had an aneurysm at the end of the week after his ears started ringing and he had horrible headaches, and I think this cavitation effect might have actually happened to him. Neuro-weapons can be biological, chemical, or in the case of incidents in Havana, directed energy weapons, Dr. James Giordano told National Defense Magazine. He is a professor in the departments of neurology and biochemistry at Georgetown Medical Center and an expert in neurotechnology and its use in the military and neuro-weapons. He actually uses the phrase neuro-weaponry. On Thursday, and you see for this article, they said neurotechnology, which he never uses. He says neuroscience, neuroweaponry. Doesn't really use, he uses neurotechnology a little bit, but you see in an article how they're going to say neurotechnology. On Thursday, U.S. Department of State officials said at a congressional hearing that investigators still do not know how the attacks against U.S. personnel at the embassy in Havana were carried out or who the perpetrators are. The attacks began in late 2016, and the most recent was reported in May. But 3 doctors that are part of a team put together by the State Department believe that those affected by the attacks may have been exposed to a directed energy weapon. But 3 doctors that are part of a team put together by the State Department, James Giordano being one of them. So these people, advisors to the Pentagon, saying these are directed energy weapons that hit these people because they know they've worked with directed energy weapons. And many more people in the world know that in the Cuban embassy attack it was directed energy weapons. But, you know, okay, so, but 3 doctors that are part of a team put together by the State Department believe that those affected by the attacks may have been exposed to a directed energy weapon, which can cause injury by creating cavitation or air pockets in fluids near the inner ear. The bubbles can travel quickly through 2 pathways that carry blood to the brain from the inner ear, the copy and function as a stroke, Giordano said. Okay, I'll wait till the end of the article, but I want to say something. I'm hoping I don't forget. So far, 26 Americans have been affected with symptoms ranging from hearing loss, balance, and cognitive problems to brain damage. The team created by the government includes an expert in brain trauma and otolaryngology, Dr. Michael Hoffer of the University of Miami, and Dr. Carrie Balaban, professor of otolaryngology, bioengineering, and neurobiology at the University of Pittsburgh. Giordano, Hoffer, and Balaban independently studied the first test taken by those affected. The victims traveled to Miami to be evaluated, and Hoffer also traveled to Havana shortly after the first incidents were reported in late December 2016, all occurring in diplomatic residences in 2 hotels. Now let me read that again. Okay, Giordano, Hoffer, and Balaban independently studied the first test taken by those affected. So obviously, since Dr. Giordano is an expert on neuroweapons and directed energy weapon systems, the Pentagon was going to want to let him take a look at the tests to verify that directed energy weapons and neuroweapons are being used on the embassy workers. Now, I think that's misleading in the beginning of the article for James Giordano to say, oh, well, you know, this can create a cavitation and kill somebody, so it's an attack like that, when he knows that neuroweapons signals and receive signals from the brain. So that's a little bit of a spin there, because I think that if he were being truthful, he would say, well, you can get information from somebody's brain by using remote neural manipulation. So seems a little bit spinnish at the beginning. Let me go on with the article. Miami to evaluate it, and Hoffer also traveled to Havana shortly after the first incidents were reported in late December 2016, all occurring in diplomatic residences in 2 hotels. I just read that and didn't remember. Lord, help my brain, Lord. Help all of our brains, help all of our energy, please. Lord, give us miracles, give us a pathway to freedom, back to our lives, or to new ones that are better. Please, Lord. Gosh, the world is so insane. It's just, that Fidel Castro? Is like a booger coming out of his nose? I think that's just his mustache. Okay. The U.S. personnel he examined said they were sitting in their homes or at the hotel when they suddenly felt the symptoms, a feeling of pressure, pain or ringing in the ears, and dizziness after being exposed to a shrill noise, that high-pitched tinnitus-like sound. A day later, some reported cognitive deficits. Hoffer said that some of those affected said they perceived that the energy being followed them around their homes or at the hotel, and it only ceased when they opened the front door. Interesting. The team was unable to conclude exactly what method the perpetrators of the attacks used, but reduced it to several possibilities. Ultrasonic, acoustic exposures were considered very possible and probable. Electromagnetic pulsing was also described as very possible and probable. The team reported that the use of microwave energy was possible but unlikely. Electromagnetic pulsing, the electromagnetic scale has microwaves on it, so electromagnetic pulsing, very possible and probable, but microwaves being the same thing, electromagnetic pulses, if you put them in a certain range in the electromagnetic spectrum, you get microwaves. So that's why these electromagnetic pulses, they can put to the spectrum of microwaves. So I don't know, it's not different from electromagnetic pulses, so I don't know why they're saying those two are different, especially Giordano. But I'm going to read that comment by somebody who has an opinion about him that kind of made me feel like, well, maybe he's trying to do some good. The State Department stopped referring to the attacks as sonic because they ruled out that the sound was the cause of the symptoms. In an article recently published by the New York Times, experts pointed to microwaves as possible culprits of the attacks, describing a mechanism still little understood that makes human beings able to hear those waves in certain circumstances. Yeah, microwave hearing. All right, so that's the open with the article. I didn't know it was this long. Might just do these two articles and then the comments that I wanted to go through, and then do some of the other stuff on another video. Kind of make my videos not over an hour. I think people like some long videos, but they don't want them too long, like 2 or 3 hours. Which I do. I didn't say this at the beginning, but I really, some of y'all may be annoyed by it. But I really want to go through the brain science from bench to battlefield again. I'll go through the whole thing, and I want to editorialize all the way through, because I think when I did the other ones, I did some clips by my phone, and then I think I think that's all I did. So I really want to go through the whole thing. There's a lot of important stuff in it. I'm not sure if I covered the whole thing. I know a lot of y'all have seen me talk about James Giordano just to where you've had it up to here. But I need to get the information out there. I may do that in a live stream, so that if you do watch my videos a lot, and you're kind of sick of me going over the James Giordano information, you can text and chat and kind of, text and chat, so you can have something to do. An article written by specialists from the University of Pennsylvania, who also examined affected U.S. personnel months after symptoms were reported at the request of the government, also mentions that the victims reported vibrations as coming from a specific direction. The article says some patients mysteriously exhibit brain damage without apparent cause, but the case has been received with skepticism by the scientific community, and the Cuban government has adamantly denied that there is a collective hysteria among the employees of the embassy. Hey, anybody experiences this stuff, you're always going to have somebody. In this case, the State Department, the University of Pennsylvania, they've done these tests. The mainstream news is reporting all the possibilities of it. But you still got the Cuban government saying, hey, mental illness, collective hysteria. So it seems like in any cases that have actually been tested, there's still going to be somebody saying hysteria or mass delusion or new mental illness. New mental illness, and that's what I was talking to my psychiatrist, and I'm like, I didn't know anything about these weapons before I started being attacked. I think I was attacked about 10 years before I even knew it. It was more subtle. Didn't know about directed energy weapons, but then I knew I was being attacked with something, and then I looked, and that was like 10 years after weirdness started. like 8 years ago. And after being hit with something, tinnitus-like sound in the ears, headaches, felt like heat was hitting my body. Look it up to find out that directed energy weapons have patents for them. Microwave hearing has directed energy weapon systems. This is all documented. It exists. I didn't know anything about the weapons before. Now, all the target individuals that I know about, that I talked to, they didn't know anything about these weapons before. So how is this new mental illness taking place where something that, and I've explained this to y'all before, but I said that to my psychiatrist, and, well, it was kind of weird. I mean, I think that she kind of knows something going on, but she has so many patients. She's about to go into her career. She doesn't want to rock. I don't know. I don't know. But it's like, I also said, I think that a lot of real weird things that are going on in the world are seen as mental illness nowadays. And she was like, I agree with you. So, I don't know. And I gave her my channel again, so she might watch this. I think my mom also watches videos, so I'm trying to put out some information so she can understand kind of, what I'm doing too. And then the thing is, I've said it to y'all. My psychiatrist is a good person, and she wants to help. She has an overloaded. Is that the right way to say it? She has an overloaded work. So she has a lot of work to do, and she goes by a certain protocol, and I don't know. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt too. I mean, I know she's not involved in this, but I don't like to go, well, she's not looking up stuff about it, so she's a complete bad person. That's not always how the world works. We're all in a mess in this world. And good people have to work together. We just got to work together and keep getting to the truth. And you just can't get mad about. You can't let it get to you how things are, because we're gonna change them. So we're changing them right now, and all you got to put information out on videos or Facebook or, speaking engagements. A lot of target individuals are doing speaking engagements and stuff. So, we're moving forward, guys. We're moving forward. We're keeping the faith, and we shall overcome. Yeah. All right. So, doctors from the initial team created by the State Department also raised the possibility that the attackers used a combination of a drug that was activated with the directed energy weapon, or that they used pulse lasers. All these weapons can produce cavitation in fluids and can produce these effects, validated in National Defense Magazine. But team members agreed that saying that the attacks in Cuba are one thing or another is foolhardy. No, I mean, it's science. You gotta have a hypothesis of what's going on, and then you gotta test that hypothesis. I think if we use science in our reality, in our world nowadays, instead of just emotion and, what's popular or what's propaganda, man, we could do good. We could do a great job if we said, here's our theory of what's happening in reality. Now let's get the facts on it. That'd be great. Well, that'd be great. We wouldn't have a whole bunch of people calling people who are going through 24-hour-day torture insane. They wouldn't be calling people ill who really didn't do anything and are being tortured by agencies. And it's independent contractors that are given security clearances to do this stuff, and military clearances. It's the DoD, the Pentagon. It comes all from DARPA until it's mass produced by contractors like Raytheon, Boeing, and then a bunch of other contractors and that are contracting from that are getting contracts from the DoD, like Army intelligence, and military intelligence. Forgot where I was going with that, guys. Okay, let me go to those comments. I guess I need to rest my brain. Maybe play some more Red Dead Redemption 2. It's so cool, like what they can do with video games. I remember playing video games as a kid, like at the arcade, Teenage Ninja Turtles and X-Men and stuff like that. And these video games that are coming out for your home, like your home system, are just way better than those video games. Just amazing. It's amazing the good things that technology can do. I wish we would just stay on that side of it, our whole society. All right, guys. So I want to get these comments all because I'm at about an hour. I kind of want to, if I'm not going through like the James G. Adorno, the Brain Science from Bench to Battlefield, maybe like an hour and a half to 2 hours, because I think it's an hour in full and I'm going to be stopping it a lot. But if I do go through all, I'm trying to just do an hour, because I know that people's attention spans, and me especially as a targeted individual, I have less of an attention span now. Okay, I'm not going to go. I was going to go into something that an app that just came out that shows how short our attention spans is, but I forgot the name of the app. Okay, let me go to these comments. I do have some other stuff. I wanted to go through this Joshua 8, the fall of AI. Maybe look that up, because I think I want to go into my next video. It's just a really cool biblical thing that could be a metaphorical kismet. Gives me a little bit of maybe God's giving us a wink. What's the good wink? The left eye? Wait, that's the right eye. With the left eye. I don't want to wink with the right eye, because that's like, Illuminati symbolism or whatever. Okay, so this is the person, Chapawi Zonta, said, Kyle, I just left James Frankenstein Giordano a voicemail at his office. This could a protest strategy. Could be, I think she's saying this could be a protest strategy. So that's good. I don't know. I still need to call University of Pennsylvania. I'm really dragging my feet on it, guys. I'm just like, oh, they're not gonna see me, and I'm breaking through that, and then I'll be doing more. But right now, I'm just trying to get information out. But let me go down to this one. Oh, go back up again. Let me go through the one that I wanted to go through. Okay. Went back up. God doggone it. 131 Kimber said this, and it kind of made me Dr. Gino, Georgetown University. Our attacks are under BCI weapons, computers with integrated neurology. Use fake neural signals as their attacks. Yes. Like she says, I think he or she is saying, like Mr. Gino, he's like Robert Duncan, trying to warn of a problem few would believe. Good vid, missed the live stream, it's saving to my personal library. So she's kind of making me think. I guess this did go through my mind, but I was like, well, he's involved. He's still get out of that work. But she's saying that he's kind of like Robert Duncan, and he's involved in some of these programs, and he sees how wrong it is. And so he's trying to speak out about neuroethics and ethics with neurotechnology and all this stuff. So he's actually doing a good thing. So I'm going to try and keep that in mind and just go through his information. And I know this world is very complicated, so I'm going to try not to judge and be too mean. He might get a snide comment, every once in a while. I'm sure. I don't know if I ever talk to him. I'll see if I'll see something. This was okay. So those are the comments that I want to show you. There was somebody who's kind of not satisfied with me with something, the unpossible file. So he's saying true lie BS for conventional reality arguments. So he's saying me, VW, Vulcan Wolverine, one of thousands of disinformation cyber channels blaming the West and U.S. Never Russia, China, Joy Camp, Gulag surveillance. Then there's Truman Show, Sim Reality, nothing spiritual about it. I'm not sure if he thinks there's something spiritual about it or nothing. I'm not sure about that comment. Not a computer sim, controlled by a disembodied metaphysical big brother cognitive hive dictator technology. So I'm not sure what the end means, but he's saying that like I'm one of the thousands of disinformation cyber channels because I'm blaming the West and the U.S. Now, on this one video, I'm going over somebody who is an advisor to me. So because I live in the United States, I do tend to, when I'm looking in for evidence and information, looking into the agencies that I can understand in my own country. Because that gives us a framework for how other countries' military-industrial complexes work. But I never just say that the U.S. is doing this. I always say that Russia's doing it, and all these other countries are doing it too. I do have kind of a focus on the United States and how it's being done in the United States because I'm from the United States, in the United States. So that's an easier place for me to work from than starting out and saying, okay, how are they doing it in China? How is China society working? How does their internet work? How does their propaganda work? What are China's intelligence agencies, and how are all it? I mean, why would I start there? I start with how my own country works. But this does take place in all countries, so I don't know if maybe he hasn't seen a lot of my videos. Definitely not a disinformation Psywar channel. Sometimes hurts. I know it's just, it's one person, they may misunderstand things, or maybe just going off of one video, or I don't know, just what I'm saying. But it does kind of stab me in the heart a little bit. I'm really working through a lot of fatigue and torture, and my own shitty things that I'm going through in my life, and still putting out information and push us forward. So it kind of sucks to hear somebody who's like, oh, it's just disinformation, blah, blah, blah. I'm a targeted individual, and I want to get out of this stuff. I want this program stopped as much as any other person getting tortured by this. I don't know. I was like, what? One of 1,000 different disinformation Psywar channels because I'm saying that the United States does this to their own citizens. So I don't know. But thank you all for your comments. Thank you for your comment, The Impossible File. Thank you for all of your comments, 131 Kimber. 131 Kimber has been leaving really intelligent like links and comments, and just has a lot of insight on this since I first started making videos. So I really want to thank 131 Kimber for your comments, especially if you have different viewpoints than me, or something that I'm not seeing, that I'm not mentioning, that it's like, well, you should mention this too. So any people that leave some really good comments, please let me know. Hey, you haven't talked about this in a while. Let's hear. Can we hear about this? I'd rather y'all send me information, articles and stuff to my email. But if you do want to make a suggestion on what I should make a video about, something that I'm not covering, please leave it in the comments. And then thank you, Chapelweed, for your comment too. And Brian too left a comment. It's kind of long. I guess I'll read Brian 2's comment, because I like Brian 2. He's really suffering. Oh wow, it's real long. Okay, he leaves a video link to all right, I'll go ahead and read it. I'm getting kind of tired. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'll read Brian's comment. Okay, they do not care about your evidence, about your video camera, or how many videos you make. They want you to believe that your video evidence deters them, but that is how the game is played against you in order to force you into false correlations. What they care about is your memory and thought process. They must force you to respond in order for their technology to work properly. Each time you respond to their specific provocations, it produces a response in your brain, which the R&M supercomputer, which is really monitoring all electromagnetic activity of your brain, is using to build a cognitive model, copycat parallel twin personality of your human soul. I don't really agree with him on that, but he defines human soul. He says the spirit is like what I think about a soul, and he says that the soul is your personality, will, and intellect. So he's really talking about this when he says soul. He says spirit they can't touch, though, because I've had this conversation with him. By reverse engineering your responses, meaning your will, intellect, and emotion. What I'm saying is that they are using physical trauma, torture, psychological trauma, street theater to map out and reverse engineer the sensory neural pathways of your brain and central nervous system to build this cognitive model. And each time you respond, you are playing the game. Stop playing the game. They can attack you and will do so, but this is about mind control, not attacking you, and their mind control unless they can force you to play the game, keep you responding. That game is based on the mathematical model known as the hyper game theory. And I want to stop here, and I want to say I agree with that. We shouldn't play the game, but we should be active. We should be active, not reactive. So when I make these videos and I'm getting awareness out, it's active. I'm actively going for the head of the giant. Now, what Brian's saying is react to the arms and the legs of the giant. I just like the David and Goliath metaphor, guys. Y'all know me. But the gang stalking and the harassment where you're supposed to react to it, that's like the arms and the legs of the giant. We got to go for the head of the giant. So putting awareness out, doing things actively. Now, I think recording evidence of gang stalking is very good. Just don't internalize. Don't let it get to you. Record and kind of let it go, so you can not have your mind kind of whirling around all the time with what they're doing. Okay, so where was I? Okay, I asked Dr. Robert Duncan in a conversation not long ago exactly how to defeat CIA mind control technologies. His response to me was carefully guarded, but he said in 4 words the answer: stop playing the game. I think that's good advice there. In order for their technology to work effectively, they must first force you to respond to disruptions, chaos, harassment, etc. Street theater provocations, meaning their street situational and conversational scenarios. Before the armed supercomputer and hive mind teams can move or respond, they must first force the victim into a verifiable move or response. It doesn't matter how many chaotic or random events or topics that you respond to each day, as that does not help their technology at all. You must respond to their specific provocations, their specific street, or the verification process breaks apart, meaning integration, completion between the supercomputer and your brain is hindered, and without your response to their specific street theater provocations, the verification process breaks apart and mind control technologies of the CIA fail. And that disrupts their technology when you engage in a daily pattern of random and chaotic responses to any external activity which goes on around you. That's why they have you surrounded all day long in a floating box, a psychotronic concentration camp. This floating box is designed to prevent you, the mind control victim, from engaging in a pattern of random and or chaotic responses to the external activities which goes on in a normal person's daily life. Stop responding, show no response at all, positively or negatively. Stop playing the game. If you really want to piss them off, just ignore them. Once the copycat parallel twin personality inside the database of their supercomputer is complete, you are in seriously trouble, just like Myron Bay and Aaron Alexis were when the cognitive model of their will, intellect, and emotion was finally complete. They inflicted destruction upon others and self-destructed, which is exactly what will happen to you if the technology works properly once the cognitive model is complete. Stop responding, stop pointing a camera at them, ignore them. If they don't commit a crime or grievous offense against you, do not respond. Or the day will soon come when you will not realize until it's too late that it is game over. Don't even read or reply to comments on YouTube, Facebook, etc. if you don't know the individual. This video I made will explain it to you better and more completely. So I guess, guys, if you want to check that out, I'm doing all right. I wish you would use Dave Case's CD and Ground, because they're doing a lot of good things. So you can go to Brian 2's channel. Mind control victims must not respond to the provocateur. Stop playing the game. Don't cooperate. When did he make this? And I agree with a lot of what Brian 2 says. I kind of disagree with him on certain things. I don't think that these people can control your soul or take soul. But he kind of means like intellect. What I say is soul is like connected to God. He calls that spirit. And I think that science is, it says that frequency and energy, that's the end-all be-all. That's what everything is. But science hasn't even figured out that there are other levels. There are things that are not just frequency and energy inside of us, things that are connected to God. Things at a quantum level, things that are connected to God. There's more that science does not know, and we can use those things against this. But yeah, check Brian 2's channel out. Oh, when did he's got a lot of views on it. 5,000 views. It's August 6th he made that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know there's COINTELPRO. He says to stay away from the conference calls and everything. There are real targeted individuals on the conference calls. I know there's COINTELPRO, but I don't think that if you, it's like we interact with gang stalkers all day or whatever, and we shouldn't interact with them, but even if you have some COINTELPRO on a phone call, I think it's going to be your death. Like he says, it's like, you know, it's life and death that you get off the conference calls. I don't agree with that. You know, because my attackers are, they actually, for remote neural manipulation, use real stuff that's going on that are not like stuff with my parents, stuff that is not even involved in gang stalking. They will use in remote neural manipulation. So I don't know though, but I do agree with me. He says, I hope he's doing okay. I really wish he'd used a case of CD and ground some. All right, guys. That's it for this video. Yeah, that's it for this video. I'm getting kind of tired. My throat's getting kind of worn out. But I'll make another one soon. I'll probably do, you know, live stream and go over brain science from bench to battlefield again. Just go over it one more time thoroughly, so I have that video out there. You know, some of you may be like, well, we've heard enough about that, Kyle, by now. But I just think it's extremely important. It connects a lot of dots. That guy connects a lot of dots in this whole thing. And just everybody, thank you for your comments. Brian, thank you for your comments. And everybody else. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one. I love you guys. Just stay strong. Stay strong. We're going to find a pathway through this. We're finding a pathway through this. God's got a path. All we got to do is keep moving forward and keep throwing our rocks. Throw them at the head of the giant. Kind of ignore the arms and the legs. Get away from the arms and the legs. And keep throwing it at the head of the giant. All right, guys, I love y'all. And I'll see you on the next one.